You know, there's really a lot of misunderstanding and glorification of waged work, and its source is a point of production philosophy which is based on leading the working class, because that's where the work, that's in quotes, okay, because that's where the working class is most concentrated, and they feel if they're in charge of those, they have the power. It is the theory of the party that has led to the glorification of capitalist exploitation at the waged workplace. And we're absolutely opposed to it here. We don't like work. We work harder than anybody I know in England. I mean, we work 12 and 14 hours. You come here at 9 o'clock at night, and there are a couple of women that you'll find here. I know every night they're here working, and they've been here since 9 in the morning, but they don't like work. This is work, but it's work for something. It's not work for capital. And I think these people don't know the difference. If they're getting good money for pushing other women around, they say this must be liberation for them. There's been an enormous struggle which women at this center have been involved in against rape and against sexual assault, including within the family, including by the police, including by employers. And what we've seen is the ambitious of the feminists who have taken up the question at this moment in time, who will do some service work because they'll get funding for it, and who work with the police but will not confront the police on their refusal to pursue rapists or on their rape. So we've had a big class struggle in the women's movement.
What is the relation of men in this organizational framework? What role have they played? What role are they playing? Could we start with CLR James, maybe?
No, he was never in this organization. Okay. He was never. He could. Well, first of all, by the time the organization was formed, he was quite an elderly man. But he was not active politically from the 60s, really. And CLR had really, he did a lot of public speaking, and he did a lot of advising, but he was not politically active at all.
I've read that the house was a bit of a hotbed for revolutionaries from all over the world coming to pay their respects or seek advice or just report in.
Yeah, I think that's true. I don't know about revolutionists.
Well,
I don't know about that. You know, revolution is a word that I don't use lightly. But there are a lot of intellectuals came, a lot of academics came for advice, a lot of students came. Oh, God. We could have had a tea maker for the students alone who came to say, I want to do my thesis on so-and-so, CLR, what do you think? And all kinds of people did ask for his advice and asked for his view, and he knew what questions to ask, and his advice was always useful. I didn't ask him for advice on the women's movement. I didn't because, why didn't I? I don't know, I didn't. But I learned a great deal, and I always listened to what he said, and always considered what he said, and always found it useful. And I was always astonished that the left was never interested in him. No.
Left in Britain?
In Britain. Yeah, I mean, that's who I saw. I lived here. Okay. The left in Britain they were really worried about him.
Could I ask why?
He was anti-party. He was against the Leninist party, and he made a case that Lenin was too by the end. And I think he was right. Certainly I would read history in a very similar way. But I think they referred to him recently. You know, they drive me a bit crazy because they referred to him recently as a black Marxist, and I wanted to kill them for that. Just politely kill them, nothing too bloody. If he was a Marxist, he was a Marxist. What do you mean he was a black Marxist? Does it mean he was a Marxist with reservations? Does it mean that his Marxism was somehow not like theirs. What did they mean? And you know, nobody noticed that, but I get terribly aggravated by things like that. I don't say anything, but I do. And it's useful for me to be able to comment here. I find it very offensive. I think he was a great Marxist, and I think that when Notes on the Dialectic, which is being prepared for publication now, is republished with the letters that have never seen the light of day about why he was writing Notes on the Dialectic and what he has to say about Trotsky in those letters, I think is going to shock the left. The Trotskyist and Leninist left, I think they're going to be absolutely shocked. And I suppose they'll say, well, he was a black Marxist after all, so what can you expect? The men are integral to almost everything that we do. They have their own organization, they have their own international network, but they are accountable to the women. They are not servants of the women. They are integral to the work at this center and at the center in Philadelphia. Those are really the two bases. But we relate to men in a number of countries. In Guyana, for example, we relate to men there. The power relation among us is accepted and as a target to be undermined. But we are comrades together.